I'll go ahead and just open it up. As you just heard on the debate on the floor, I think Representative Yelbach did a great job of summarizing the bill that we had here today. Our goal and our objective over the last week was not only, we've been hearing from our schools, they want us to get this number set. You guys asked us about that last week. So we recognized it was something we wanted to get a number set. 2% was the number that we felt as a caucus we could not go any lower. One of the things that I want to provide clarification for that I think wasn't maybe stated clearly from the Democrats would have been from the standpoint of the $7 million and going back on a commitment that we've made. Keep in mind, we were unable to find this money or unable to fund this due to negotiations with the Senate out of the general fund. So we're actually putting $7 million this time out of the general fund into paraeducators, and this is something we can continue to fight over and negotiate with the rest of the session, knowing it's one of our priorities. But keep in mind, last year was a one-time source, and we were able to at least get this into the general fund at this point in time. So I just wanted to clarify that from the debate. This isn't the House just saying we're stopping at $7 million. We're going to continue to push for it. We wanted to get it locked in right now as much as we could because we came into this wanting as much as possible on that piece. So I'll go ahead and just open it up after that.
Does the $1 million cost of transportation still stick?
Yes, the $1 million. So the bill, I should have started with this. The bill that we just passed will be agreed to between the House and the Senate. So obviously our expectation is that they would move on that when they're able. And the $1 million cap will be in the bill, and the reason for that is we had a few school districts, one specifically, that went much higher in their cost, transportation cost. Our goal is to get everyone to the average, and so that's why we put that cap in there. That should keep us moving forward. So the school districts that this year were shortchanged because of that situation, that corrects that moving forward.
Which was that school district?
My understanding, it was the Waterloo Community School District.
I've heard representatives have some multiple examples of what could happen to different school districts around the state with this 2%. When school boards and school officials come to you now, what do you tell them?
Well, I think, again, and I've said this before, and I kind of got a grin as somebody that's been around here to the days under the Democrat trifecta when we actually had a 10% across the board cut in education funding. That hasn't happened under Republicans. And so my point in saying that is we sit here and get lectured about how we're mismanaging the state's budget. We're mismanaging education funding. Well, if anyone want to know what mismanagement looks like, look at the Democrat trifecta. Even when I was in here in the legislature, so I'm not speaking out of turn, I saw it in action. We're investing more than we ever had into education funding. I think Representative Gelbach made a good point. Not only are we making record investments, but you're seeing improvement in test scores and in results as well. I was glad that Representative Gelbach brought that up because that needs to be a part of this conversation. What we've been hearing from our schools is give us a level of certainty. And every school is going to always want more money, but I haven't taken a meeting with any group in the legislature that ever said we had too much money. So start that as the baseline. But what we've been hearing from our schools is get us the money, get us locked in. We're coming up on budget time. That's why we made this deal right now to get this done and then give the certainty to our schools.
On a different subject,
Yeah.
President Trump signed an executive order yesterday on glyphosate.
Yeah.
Does that, I guess, mean you guys don't have to do the Bayer-Monsanto bill?
I'll be honest with you, I'm aware of the executive order from the president. I have not had any further conversation on what that may or may not mean from Iowa. My understanding is the president obviously wants to see these products made in America, kind of something that we've been talking about, but I haven't had a chance to really dive into that, Kay, at this point.
Do you think it's still important to pass the bill?
I want to wait. Give me a little time to marinate on that one. Maybe next time we talk, I can give you a little bit better guidance because I'm aware of it, but I have not also, as a caucus, I don't know if we've had time to digest what the impacts may or may not be, especially being a main producer here in Iowa and Muscatine. So.
A bill restricting mail-order abortion pills is still alive in the House. What action do you want to see taken on abortion by Republicans in session?
From our standpoint, we feel that that's a bill, as we meet with the pro-life groups leading into session, that's a bill that we feel is something that we're definitely going to be part of, we have a conversation about. So I would expect to see that be something that at least goes to the full caucus and more than likely would make its way to the floor.
Why was the bill that was scheduled for a subcommittee on Tuesday canceled?
Well, and I think Representative Holters have done well. They had some really clear comments, but from my perspective, we reached a conclusion as a caucus, working with the committee chairs, working with members of the subcommittee, that we're probably not in a position where we're going to be ready to move forward with that. Also, at the same time, hearing from the pro-life groups leading through the entirety of session, the bill that was just referenced is what they really want us to see get across the finish line. We feel that we're in a much better position with support within the caucus for that than we would be the other bill at this point in time.
We've seen a lot of public library bills kind of going through the House and the Senate.
forward? What can Iowans expect?
This is me just speaking as far as taking feedback from the caucus. I know there's been a lot of different bills, a lot of different conversations. The objective that I think we're trying to get as House Republicans, and this is what I would give for input to the caucus, is if there's explicit material that needs to be in a different section, that's something we need to discuss. If there's something that does not involve parental notification or parental sign off for the kind of material that the children are able to see, those are the kind of conversations we want to have. I know there's a lot of different bills floating around right now. That's, I think, where the most of our conversation is going to center around as we move forward on that topic in general.
There were a handful of Democratic bills that made it through the funnel on this side, more than usual. Is that something that you and Leader Kaufmann authorized the committee chairs to do, or is that just something the committee chairs themselves decided?
As you've probably seen with all the bills that have come through, I do not authorize every one of the bills that comes through. Otherwise, there probably wouldn't be so many bills coming through. Laura, just to be really honest with you, my approach as Speaker has been to be fairly hands-off from the committee process. And if it's something that the committee wants to make that decision, ultimately the full caucus will have the say whether it moves towards the floor. But I think it represents, and I think it's something that we've talked about a lot, that with roughly 90% of the bills being bipartisan, there are bills that we can work on with one another. It's something that I think Iowans should see, that there's a willingness to want to have some of those opportunities. But ultimately, the caucus will make the decision whether they move forward.
Tobacco tax.
You look very uncomfortable. I feel
just-
terrible.
I just
Here,
don't
do you want to come down here and I can move
No,
over?
it's just-
I feel really bad about this.
No, this is it's part of my plot.
Okay. Okay.
The governor has said raise the tobacco tax. The Senate committee today approved that. What are its prospects in the House?
I think, well, here's what I would say on that. Obviously, the committee has taken some level of action, or excuse, the HHS committee has taken some level of action on that already. I think that the future has a level of uncertainty, and I only say that from the standpoint of we really have not fully dove into our Ways and Means conversations and our taxing conversations. I think you may see that conversation, but we're not in a position where I can say, yes, we will move something forward, or it's dead for the year. It's probably getting, as we move forward in session, as you know, and the tax policies start coming up, we'll have a discussion, but I don't think we're in a position to have a landing spot yet.
How soon would you like to see the legislative wheel spinning on property taxes moving forward?
Well, I think just because you don't see them doesn't mean that they're not spinning, to be honest with you. Aaron, we're having good conversations with the Senate, with the governor. I think it still seems very clear to me that there is a want from all of three parties to get something done. So from my standpoint, I think that's positive.
Sorry if this was
I'll
asked
do,
before I.
yeah, last one.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry if this was asked before I got here, but there's a bill in the Senate that would allow funding for state government to continue if there's no deal reached, to continue at previous year levels. I don't know if you've talked with Leader Klimisch about that at all. He was saying it's to avoid a situation like a shutdown in D.C. Just kind of curious whether you think Iowa has the need for that type of law.
I'm only aware of it. I've spent no time thinking about it as far as what that piece of legislation would be. I think we've shown as a state government, regardless if we had split control or the trifecta, that we've generally been able to get a budget done. Ultimately, I'd have to look at it more to really give you a determination, but that's something I probably should have a conversation with the Senate about, kind of see where they're coming from. But traditionally, we've been able to show that we've been able to find a level of resolution.
Were you here in 2011?
Well, I mean, over
So
the
you
course
came
of
within 8 hours?
yeah, well, hey, 8 hours. I mean, there's times where we do better than the federal government does, Kay. So that's all right. All right, everybody good? Thank you. All right, thank you. I'm taking this with me. It's